The following content is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional legal, marketing, or business advice. Email deliverability involves complex algorithms, proprietary corporate systems, and strict federal regulations, including the CAN-SPAM Act in the United States. Historical trends, statistics, and case studies discussed in this video do not represent guaranteed outcomes for your specific email campaigns or business operations. Viewers must conduct their own thorough due diligence and consult with qualified legal and technical professionals before implementing any email marketing strategies to ensure full compliance with all applicable local, state, and federal laws. We are sharing potential outcomes based on industry research and technical documentation, not concrete financial projections or foolproof methods. Proceed with your marketing efforts responsibly. Right now, as you watch this screen, millions of dollars in potential revenue are vaporizing in a digital graveyard that you probably check every single day, yet rarely think about strategically. I am talking about the spam folder. Consider a highly documented historical trend in the e-commerce sector. In late 2023, a mid-sized outdoor apparel retailer based in the American Midwest spent 6 grueling months and nearly $80,000 in advertising to build a highly targeted email list of 250,000 subscribers. They did everything according to the traditional marketing playbook. They offered high-value lead magnets, they maintained a consistent sending schedule, and they spent weeks crafting the perfect Black Friday promotional sequence. On the morning of their biggest launch of the year, they hit send. Their email service provider dashboard lit up with a glorious 99% delivery rate. The marketing team celebrated, but within 3 hours, panic set in. Sales were virtually non-existent. Website traffic was a flat line. Customer support wasn't receiving any inquiries. The terrifying truth was not that their list was bad, or that their offer was weak. The terrifying truth was that they fundamentally misunderstood a single metric, confusing delivery rate with deliverability rate. Their email service provider reported a 99% delivery rate simply because the receiving servers at Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft acknowledged receipt of the digital packets. But those servers took one microscopic look at the back-end infrastructure of those emails and silently routed all 250,000 messages directly into the spam folder. The company lost an estimated $400,000 in projected weekend revenue, entirely because they fell victim to a silent, highly sophisticated update in how major inbox providers process sender authentication. They had triggered an invisible algorithmic tripwire. By the end of this deep dive masterclass, I am going to reveal exactly what those tripwires are, how modern machine learning filters actually read your emails before a human ever does, and how you can spot the critical warning signs before your business becomes another tragic case study in the spam filter ecosystem. If you are an entrepreneur, a digital creator, or a corporate marketer operating in the United States, your ability to consistently reach your audience's primary inbox is the absolute lifeblood of your operation. We are no longer living in the early days of the internet where beating the spam filter simply meant avoiding words like free, cash, or urgent in your subject line. That is an antiquated perspective that will actively harm your business today. Modern spam filters, particularly those deployed by the dominant players in the US market like Gmail and Apple Mail, are incredibly sophisticated artificial intelligence engines. They do not just look at what you say, they analyze your domain's historical behavioral patterns, your infrastructural cryptographic signatures, and the real-time biometric engagement of your audience. Today, we are completely dismantling the black box of email deliverability. This is designed specifically to solve the exact problem plaguing American businesses right now: the sudden unexplained drop in open rates and the banishment to the junk folder. We are going to navigate the strict new mandates introduced by major inbox providers that radically shifted the landscape for anyone sending more than 5,000 emails a day. You need to understand that these are not mere suggestions, they are hard-coded technical requirements. We will explore the critical threshold of a 0.3% spam complaint rate. To put that abstract number into terrifying perspective, if you send an email to a modest list of 1,000 people, and just 3 of those individuals click the mark as spam button because they were too lazy to scroll down and find your unsubscribe link, your entire sending domain is immediately flagged. Your reputation is instantly compromised. Why does this happen so frequently? Because user interface design on mobile devices heavily favors the spam button over the unsubscribe process. This is precisely why we will thoroughly examine the technical implementation of the RFC 8058 standard, universally known as the one-click unsubscribe requirement. This is not simply about hyperlinking text at the bottom of your newsletter. It requires configuring specific HTTP post requests within the hidden header data of your email, ensuring that major providers can automatically generate a native-level unsubscribe button right next to your sender name. Furthermore, we will look deeply into the psychological and algorithmic importance of engagement signals. Many beginners falsely believe that simply sending emails is enough. However, inbox providers actively track how long a user leaves your email open on their screen, an internal metric known as read time. They track whether users reply to your automated sequences, whether they forward the email to their peers, and critically, whether they frequently delete your emails without even bothering to open them. A high volume of unread deletions is one of the strongest negative signals you can send to a machine learning filter, effectively telling the algorithm that your content is unwanted clutter, regardless of whether the user explicitly marked it as spam. This masterclass will provide you with the exact frameworks to audit your current standing, rehabilitate damaged domain reputations based on successful past case studies, and establish a fortress of technical authentication around your digital communications. There are absolutely no shortcuts here, but by thoroughly understanding the infrastructure, you secure the communication channels that drive your revenue. Building that fortress begins with the most critical foundational layer of email infrastructure, which is your domain authentication. Imagine if you attempted to board a highly secure international flight in the current year, 2026, but you refused to present a government-issued identification card at the terminal. You could hold a legitimate first-class boarding pass, you could have no criminal record, and you could be completely harmless, but the security personnel will absolutely not allow you onto that aircraft. This is precisely how the receiving servers at Gmail, Yahoo, and Microsoft view your incoming messages, if you have neglected to properly configure the holy trinity of email authentication protocols. These protocols are SPF, DKIM, and MARC. We must break these down step by step because ignoring these technical requirements is the #1 reason legitimate American businesses find their communications banished to the spam folder. Let us begin with SPF, which stands for Sender Policy Framework. You can conceptualize SPF as a public guest list that you broadcast to the entire internet. When your email arrives at a receiving server, that server immediately inspects your domain name. It then actively queries your domain name system, commonly referred to as DNS, and searches for your public records to ask a fundamental question. Is the specific IP address of the computer that dispatched this email explicitly listed on the approved guest list for this domain? Here is where most beginners make a catastrophic error. If you utilize a third-party email service provider like MailChimp, Klaviyo, or ActiveCampaign, you are not actually dispatching emails from your own personal computer or your own private servers. You are renting their corporate infrastructure. If you fail to explicitly authorize their specific server IP addresses within your SPF record, the receiving inbox algorithms will automatically assume a malicious actor is attempting to impersonate your business. Consider a highly relevant case study involving a business owner named Michael, who runs an independent real estate brokerage in Denver, Colorado. Early in 2026, Michael decided to migrate his weekly housing market newsletter from a legacy software platform to a cutting-edge customer relationship management system. He successfully exported his subscriber list of 40,000 local residents, imported the data into the new platform, and proudly initiated his first weekend market update campaign. Historically, Michael maintained an impressive open rate hovering around 38%. However, on this particular weekend, his open rate plummeted to a devastating 2%. Michael frantically contacted customer support, convinced the new software was defective. The reality was much harsher. Michael had completely forgotten to update his SPF records to include the sending servers of his new software provider. Google and Yahoo saw tens of thousands of messages claiming to originate from Michael domain, but they were arriving from completely unauthorized data centers. The algorithms flawlessly executed their exact purpose by categorizing this massive influx of unverified mail as a dangerous spoofing attack. Rectifying this issue requires logging into your domain registrar, navigating to the advanced DNS management portal, and adding a specific text record containing the exact values provided by your email software. It is a 5-minute technical process, but failing to execute it correctly cost Michael weeks of lost momentum and deeply damaged his domain reputation. However, relying solely on an SPF record is no longer sufficient for modern deliverability. The increasingly aggressive machine learning filters demand a secondary, cryptographic layer of verification known as DKIM, or Domain Keys Identified Mail. Imagine if you drafted a highly confidential legal document, placed it securely inside a thick envelope, and sealed the flap with a unique, custom-made wax stamp. If any individual attempts to tamper with that document while it is in transit, the wax seal will inevitably shatter, immediately alerting the recipient to the interference. DKIM operates on an identical conceptual framework, utilizing complex cryptography instead of wax. When you configure DKIM, your email server automatically attaches an invisible, mathematically generated digital signature to the hidden header data of every single outgoing message. The receiving server then retrieves a public cryptographic key, which you must also publish within your DNS settings, to mathematically verify that specific signature. If the mathematical calculation perfectly aligns, the receiving server possesses concrete proof that the email genuinely originated from your domain, and that the internal contents were not maliciously altered by a hacker intercepting the digital packets across the internet. If your emails currently lack a valid and properly aligned DKIM signature, your deliverability metrics will suffer catastrophic penalties. Throughout the progression of recent years, major inbox providers have continually updated their core security algorithms, transforming DKIM from an optional best practice into a mandatory, hard-coded standard for anyone transmitting commercial mail. Operating without it sends a glaring, negative signal to spam filters, indicating that you operate in insecure infrastructure. Yet, even with SPF and DKIM flawlessly deployed, you remain vulnerable without the final, most crucial piece of the architectural puzzle. This protocol is known as DMARC, or Domain-Based Message Authentication, Reporting, and Conformance. If SPF acts as the guest list, and DKIM acts as the cryptographic identification proving who holds the ticket, DMARC functions as the explicit set of instructions you provide directly to the security bouncer at the door. DMARC informs the receiving server precisely what actions to take if an incoming message completely fails the SPF or DKIM security checks. Imagine if a sophisticated international counterfeiter attempts to launch a massive phishing campaign, entirely faking your sender details to trick your US customer base into handing over sensitive financial information. Without a DMARC policy in place, the receiving server might just allow those malicious emails to bypass the filters, or it might silently route them into the spam folder, leaving you entirely blind to the fact that your brand identity is being actively weaponized. When you implement DMARC, you gain the power to instruct receiving servers to actively reject and delete those fraudulent emails before they ever reach a human being. Furthermore, DMARC is designed to generate comprehensive daily aggregate reports, sending complex data files directly to your technical team. These reports reveal exactly which IP addresses across the globe are attempting to send mail on behalf of your domain. The historical trend for implementing DMARC follows a very specific step-by-step phased rollout. You begin by publishing a DMARC text record in your DNS with a policy set to none. This introductory phase simply monitors the global traffic without blocking or interfering with any messages. Once you thoroughly analyze the daily reports and confirm that all of your legitimate marketing software, billing systems, and customer support platforms are successfully passing the authentication checks, you graduate to a policy of quarantine. This middle phase instructs inbox providers to send any unauthorized mail directly to the recipient spam folder. Finally, once you are absolutely certain your infrastructure is locked down, you escalate to a policy of reject, which acts as a permanent shield, blocking unverified mail entirely. Configuring your SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records correctly is the absolute baseline requirement for operating a digital business today. It represents the foundational plumbing of the entire email ecosystem. By executing these technical configurations flawlessly, you establish an undeniable baseline of cryptographic trust with the largest technology companies in the world. You mathematically prove that you are a responsible entity actively protecting consumers. But what happens when your technical infrastructure is utterly flawless, your authentication protocols are perfectly aligned, your DNS records are immaculate, and yet your emails are still getting ruthlessly routed straight to the junk folder? Because here is the chilling reality that catches most marketers off guard. Technical perfection only guarantees you safe passage past the outer security perimeter. Once your email actually enters the internal processing systems of an inbox provider, a completely different, highly aggressive artificial intelligence takes over, analyzing every single syllable you have written. Next, we are going to expose the invisible semantic tripwires hidden deep within your everyday vocabulary, and reveal exactly why the most innocent-sounding sentence in your opening paragraph might be triggering an algorithmic lockdown before your reader even has a chance to see your subject line. The artificial intelligence analyzing your inbox in 2026 is no longer the rudimentary keyword scanner from a decade ago. We have transitioned far beyond the era where simply avoiding words like free, discount, or urgent was enough to secure a placement in the primary inbox. Today, the machine learning models deployed by major inbox providers utilize advanced natural language processing to evaluate the overarching context, the emotional sentiment, and the behavioral intent of your entire message. They are looking for semantic tripwires, which are combinations of words and formatting choices that historically correlate with predatory behavior, even if your intentions are purely educational. Imagine if you are having a normal conversation in a crowded coffee shop. If you lean in and whisper that you have a secret method to double your income overnight, the people around you will immediately recognize the context as suspicious, regardless of the specific vocabulary you use. The algorithm acts as that eavesdropper, but it operates at a scale of billions of emails per second. Let us examine a documented historical trend through the lens of a case study. Consider Sarah, a certified public accountant based in Austin, Texas, who launched an educational newsletter in early 2026 focused on tax preparation strategies for freelance designers. Sarah possessed a pristine technical infrastructure. Her SPF, DKIM, and MARC records were flawlessly configured exactly as we previously discussed. She organically grew a list of 15,000 subscribers who actively opted into her content through her main website. In late February, approaching the height of tax season, Sarah drafted an email detailing recent changes to independent contractor deductions. Her subject line read that there was an urgent update regarding their tax liability. Inside the email, she included phrases instructing them to act immediately to secure their maximum allowable deductions, and she provided a link to schedule a complimentary financial review. To a human reader, this is standard, timely professional communication from a licensed expert. To the natural language processing algorithm, this combination of phrases triggered a massive red flag. The algorithm did not just see the word urgent. It calculated the proximity of the word urgent to the phrase tax liability, cross-referenced it with the imperative command to act immediately, and noted the inclusion of a hyperlink promising a complimentary service. The system flagged the entire campaign as a high-risk financial solicitation, a category heavily regulated by inbox providers to protect consumers from phishing scams and predatory lending. Sarah saw her open rates plummet from 42% down to 6% in a single afternoon. Her meticulously researched educational content was banished to the spam folder, not because she was a spammer, but because her semantic structure perfectly mirrored the historical data patterns of malicious actors. To rehabilitate her campaign, Sarah had to fundamentally alter her copywriting approach. She transitioned from using urgency-based triggers to curiosity-based educational hooks. She changed her subject lines to focus on the specific mechanics of the tax code changes, and she removed imperative commands, replacing them with invitations to review potential outcomes based on historical tax trends. This brings us to another critical element of content filtering that frequently devastates beginners. This is the text-to-image ratio and the hidden dangers of optical character recognition. A common practice in e-commerce and retail marketing is to design visually stunning emails consisting almost entirely of massive, high-resolution graphics. Marketers will often slice a large promotional poster into 3 or 4 image blocks, stack them in their email builder, and hit send, leaving almost zero actual HTML text in the body of the message. This is a catastrophic architectural flaw. Historically, spammers utilize this exact tactic to evade early text-based filters by embedding their illicit offers directly into images where the basic scanners could not read them. Modern algorithms actively penalize emails that lack a healthy balance of readable text. Furthermore, inbox providers now deploy sophisticated optical character recognition technology. The artificial intelligence literally reads the text embedded within your JPEG and PNG files. If your image contains aggressive sales copy, the filter will extract that text, analyze its semantic weight, and penalize your domain reputation accordingly. To mitigate this risk, industry historical trends suggest maintaining a strict ratio of at least 60% text to 40% image area. Every single image must include highly descriptive alternative text, which serves as a hidden HTML attribute, describing the visual content to both the algorithm and visually impaired users utilizing screen readers. If your email is just one giant image, the algorithm assumes you are hiding something, and it will route your communication to the spam folder as a defensive measure to protect the end user. Beyond the words you write and the images you embed, the actual destinations of your hyperlinks carry immense algorithmic weight. This is the concept of link quality and URL reputation. You can draft the most perfectly formatted, deeply educational, text-based email in existence, but if you include a single link pointing to a compromised domain, your entire message becomes toxic. Beginners frequently utilize free URL shorteners to track clicks or make lengthy web addresses look cleaner. This is a massive operational mistake in the context of email deliverability. Because these public shortening services are free and accessible to anyone, they are heavily abused by malicious actors to mask the true destination of phishing links. When the machine learning filter scans your email and detects a generic shortened URL, it cannot immediately verify the final destination without executing a multi-step redirect analysis. Because inbox providers prioritize speed and security, they often simply penalize the email rather than risk exposing their users to a mass threat. If you need to track link clicks, you must utilize the native tracking mechanisms provided by your dedicated email service provider, which wrap the links in your own verified, authenticated domain name. Furthermore, the underlying HTML code of your email acts as a silent signal to the spam filters. This is known as code hygiene. When you copy and paste text directly from a word processor into your email marketing platform, you are inadvertently dragging a massive amount of hidden, proprietary formatting code into the back end of your message. This bloated, messy HTML structure is a classic footprint of amateur senders and automated spam bots. The algorithm expects clean, minimized code that renders flawlessly across various mobile and desktop clients. It actively looks for responsive design elements like CSS media queries that prove the sender has optimized the reading experience for mobile devices. If it detects chaotic, conflicting style tags, erratic font sizing, or broken table structures, it assigns a negative score to your campaign. You must always paste your content as plain text and format it natively within your email service provider to maintain a pristine code structure. We have now established that securing the inbox requires perfect infrastructural authentication and a deep understanding of algorithmic content filtering. You have secured your domain, you have balanced your text-to-image ratio, you have eliminated semantic tripwires, and you are using clean, verified hyperlinks. You might believe that you are finally ready to upload a list of 50,000 subscribers and launch a massive campaign to drive potential outcomes for your business. If you do that, you will destroy your entire digital operation within 24 hours. Because there is an invisible, overarching metric that governs absolutely everything we have discussed so far. It is a proprietary score assigned to your specific business by Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft, and it acts as the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner of your email marketing efforts. You cannot see this score, but it dictates the fate of every single message you send. It is built entirely on a concept known as domain reputation and IP warming. Next, we are going to pull back the curtain on how these massive tech conglomerates actually calculate your hidden reputation score, why sending too many good emails too quickly is mathematically identical to sending spam, and the exact architectural blueprint you must follow to slowly build trust with the algorithm before you ever attempt a major product launch. This hidden reputation score functions exactly like a highly sensitive, universally integrated financial credit score, but instead of tracking your loan payments, it tracks your digital behavior across the entire internet. You can conceptualize the major inbox providers, specifically Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft, as the credit bureaus of the digital world. When you register a brand new domain name, or when you switch to a new dedicated Internet Protocol address for your email marketing, your reputation score is not a perfect 100. Your reputation score is literally 0. In the eyes of their sophisticated machine learning filters, you are considered guilty until proven innocent. The algorithm operates on a core defensive principle. Any unknown entity attempting to transmit large volumes of data into their ecosystem is statistically likely to be a malicious actor, a compromised server, or a spam botnet. Imagine if you purchased a house in a quiet, highly regulated suburban neighborhood in Ohio. On the very first day you move in, before you have even introduced yourself to your neighbors, you set up massive stadium speakers on your front lawn and throw a rock concert for 5,000 people. The local authorities will immediately shut you down, issue massive fines, and label your property as a public nuisance. Your neighbors will instantly despise you. In the email ecosystem, a sudden massive spike in sending volume from a new or dormant domain is the exact digital equivalent of that rock concert. It is a deafening noise complaint to the internet service providers, and their immediate response is to quarantine your communications in the spam folder to protect their residents. Consider a documented case study from early in the year 2026 involving a business owner named David, who operates an independent automotive parts distribution company in Chicago, Illinois. Over the course of 4 years, David built a highly legitimate customer database of 80,000 local mechanics and car enthusiasts. Historically, David only emailed his list sporadically, perhaps once every 3 months, using a shared server environment. In March of 2026, he decided to heavily invest in his digital infrastructure. He purchased a brand new, dedicated sending domain and integrated it with an enterprise-level marketing platform. He possessed perfect authentication protocols. His SPF, DKIM, and MARC were immaculate. Eager to see potential outcomes from his new investment, David drafted a massive spring clearance promotional email and simultaneously blasted it to all 80,000 contacts on a Tuesday morning. The algorithmic response was devastating and immediate. Google Postmaster Tools, which is the internal analytics dashboard that monitors sender reputation for Gmail, registered a massive, unprecedented volume spike from a domain with zero historical sending context. The machine learning filter did not care that David had legitimate products or that his subscribers had previously opted in. The algorithm only saw the behavioral footprint of a spammer, a 0 to 80,000 volume acceleration in a matter of seconds. Consequently, Google instantly throttled his sending server. They categorized his new domain as a severe security risk. 98% of his emails were routed to the spam folder, and a significant portion were outright rejected, resulting in hard bounces. David completely paralyzed his own marketing channel because he fundamentally misunderstood the mathematical concept of sending velocity. To avoid becoming a cautionary tale like David, you must execute a strict, highly controlled architectural blueprint known as IP and domain warming. This is not an optional marketing tactic. It is a mandatory infrastructural necessity. The warming process is a systematic, methodical approach to gradually increasing your daily sending volume to prove to the algorithmic gatekeepers that you are a responsible, predictable, and highly engaged sender. You are essentially building a track record of positive behavior to increase your unseen digital credit score. The blueprint for a successful warming schedule relies on exponential, controlled growth and strict audience segmentation. You absolutely cannot begin your warming process by emailing your oldest, least engaged subscribers. That is a recipe for disaster. Instead, you must isolate your most active, hyper-engaged audience members. These are the individuals who have historically opened an email from you, clicked a link, or made a purchase within the last 30 to 60 days. By targeting this specific cohort first, you are engineering the highest possible probability of positive engagement signals, such as high open rates and zero spam complaints, during the most vulnerable phase of your domain reputation lifecycle. A standard historical trend for a highly conservative warming schedule dictates that on day 1, you should only send 50 to 100 emails. This feels painstakingly slow for ambitious beginners, but it is mathematically necessary. On day 2, you increase the volume to 200 emails. On day 3, 400 emails. You continue this controlled, daily doubling process. By day 7, you are sending roughly 6,000 emails. By day 14, you have safely scaled to nearly 100,000 emails per day. Throughout this entire 2-week progression, the machine learning algorithms at Google and Microsoft are closely monitoring your traffic. They are observing the slow, predictable ramp-up. More importantly, because you strategically targeted your most engaged subscribers first, the algorithms are witnessing incredibly positive behavioral data. They see users opening the messages, reading the text, clicking the links, and moving the emails out of the promotional tab. This continuous feedback loop of positive data forces the algorithm to steadily increase your internal reputation score. However, monitoring this progression requires constant vigilance. During the warming phase, you must obsessively track your delivery metrics. If you suddenly notice your open rates plummeting from 30% to 5% on day 8, you have hit an algorithmic ceiling. You must immediately halt the volume increase, drop your daily sending limit back down to the day 6 level, and maintain that lower volume for several days until the reputation score stabilizes. Pushing through an algorithmic block will only result in permanent domain blacklisting. The warming process demands patience, analytical precision, and a total surrender to the mathematical rules established by the inbox providers. You can execute this perfect architectural warming blueprint. You can patiently scale your volume over 30 days. You can segment your audience flawlessly to ensure high engagement. But there is a hidden, incredibly dangerous variable lurking deep within your customer database that can instantly destroy all of your methodical warming efforts. It is a silent landmine that you yourself likely collected, nurtured, and paid for. Even if you follow every single infrastructural rule we have covered, if your database is infected with this specific type of toxic data, the major internet service providers will not just send you to the spam folder, they will permanently sever your connection to their servers. Next, we are going to dive into the terrifying reality of algorithmic list hygiene, expose the invisible honeypots designed specifically to catch ignorant marketers, and reveal how a single seemingly normal email address on your list could be a weaponized trap designed to dismantle your business. The concept of a weaponized email address is not science fiction. It is a fundamental pillar of modern cybersecurity, known in the industry as a pristine spam trap or a honeypot. Imagine if law enforcement agencies left an unlocked, running luxury vehicle in a neighborhood plagued by automotive theft, completely rigged with hidden cameras and GPS trackers. The vehicle serves no legitimate transportation purpose. Its entire existence is engineered to attract, identify, and prosecute criminals. Major inbox providers like Google and Microsoft, alongside global anti-spam organizations like SpamHouse, operate massive digital networks of exactly these types of traps. They deliberately generate millions of seemingly authentic email addresses that belong to absolutely no human being. They take these fake addresses and silently bury them deep within the hidden source code of public websites, forums, and corporate directories. A normal user browsing the internet will never see them, but automated scraping software and malicious data brokers will harvest them instantly. If you send a single commercial message to a pristine spam trap, the algorithm does not just penalize your reputation score. It triggers a catastrophic, system-wide lockdown of your sending infrastructure. Because that email address has never opted into any newsletter, never registered for a product, and has zero digital footprint, the absolute only mathematical way you could have acquired it is through illicit scraping or by purchasing a stolen database. Consider a historical case study from early in 2026 involving a business-to-business software founder named Mark, operating a startup out of San Francisco, California. Facing immense pressure from his investors to accelerate user acquisition, Mark bypassed standard organic marketing channels and wired $5,000 to a third-party data broker for a list of 100,000 supposedly verified corporate executives. Mark loaded this purchased database into his customer relationship management software and initiated a massive cold outreach campaign. He believed he was executing a highly aggressive growth strategy. In reality, he had just detonated a digital grenade inside his own server room. Hidden within those 100,000 addresses were exactly 12 pristine spam traps, operated by an international blocklist authority. The moment Mark's sending server transmitted data to those 12 specific addresses, his domain name and his dedicated Internet Protocol address were instantly added to a global black hole list. Within 24 hours, every major inbox provider in the United States severed ties with his company. His marketing emails, his automated billing receipts, and even his direct customer support replies to legitimate paying clients were completely blocked from delivery. He paralyzed his company operations for nearly 3 weeks, requiring expensive legal and technical intervention to manually petition the blocklist authorities for removal. This is the stark reality of list purchasing. There are no safe shortcuts. Purchasing data is the fastest potential outcome for corporate sabotage. However, pristine honeypots are not the only toxic assets lurking in your database. There is a second, far more insidious category known as recycled spam traps, and these are specifically designed to penalize legitimate marketers who refuse to practice proper digital hygiene. Imagine if you are sending a weekly newsletter to a subscriber who enthusiastically opted into your content back in 2021. For 2 years they opened every email, but then they changed jobs or they switched from Yahoo Mail to Gmail, and they completely abandoned that old inbox. After 12 to 18 months of total inactivity, the internet service provider does not just delete that abandoned account. They reclaim it, wipe it clean, and transform it into a recycled spam trap. The inbox provider now uses this reclaimed address as a sophisticated tripwire to monitor sender behavior. They know that a responsible, compliant marketing operation actively monitors its engagement metrics and routinely purges subscribers who have not opened an email in 6 months. Therefore, if you continue blindly blasting messages to an abandoned inbox year after year without ever checking your analytics, the algorithm classifies you as a reckless sender prioritizing volume over relevance. Hitting a recycled trap might not result in the instant, catastrophic blacklisting of a pristine trap, but it steadily erodes your sender reputation, dragging your entire domain down into the spam folder month by month. Maintaining a healthy database requires ruthlessly severing ties with dormant users. You must configure your email marketing software to automatically quarantine any subscriber who has not registered a verified open or click within a 90-day window. Beyond spam traps, your database is likely infected with structural hazards, primarily hard bounces and role-based addresses. A hard bounce occurs when you attempt to send an email to an address that completely ceases to exist, usually because an employee left a company and their corporate IT department deactivated their account. When your server attempts to deliver the message, the receiving server sends back an aggressive error code stating the user is unknown. Beginners often ignore these error codes and continue attempting to send mail to dead addresses week after week. To the machine learning algorithms, repeatedly hammering a non-existent server endpoint is the undeniable behavioral signature of a malicious botnet. If your hard bounce rate exceeds an industry threshold of roughly 1%, your deliverability will plummet. Similarly, role-based email addresses are highly toxic to your campaign performance. These are generic, department-level addresses like admin, support, info, or sales at a specific company domain. These inboxes are rarely monitored by a single, dedicated human being. They are usually routed to massive ticketing systems or shared amongst a rotating team of junior employees. Consequently, nobody ever clicks your links, nobody replies to your questions, and highly often, an annoyed employee will simply mark your email as spam to clear the shared queue. Sending to role-based addresses guarantees abysmal engagement metrics, which the algorithm immediately uses to downgrade your overall domain reputation. You must meticulously scrub your list of these technical liabilities. You must utilize specialized list verification software to mathematically validate the structural integrity of every single email address before you ever hit send. But eliminating the toxic data and protecting yourself from algorithmic honeypots only solves half of the deliverability equation. You have cleaned your list, but now you face the most complex challenge of the modern email ecosystem. The algorithms are no longer just looking at your technical infrastructure or your data hygiene. They are actively watching the physical, biological behavior of the human beings on the other side of the screen. They are monitoring micro-interactions, calculating the exact millisecond a user spends reading your content, and tracking precisely where they move their cursor. Next, we are going to dissect the fascinating world of biometric engagement signals, revealing how major tech companies track user psychology, and how you can ethically engineer your copywriting to force positive behavioral responses that make the spam filter algorithm absolutely fall in love with your domain. To understand how these algorithms perceive human psychology, we must first completely shatter a massive illusion that has blinded marketers for years. If you are still judging the success of your email campaigns by looking at your open rate, you are operating on obsolete data that is actively sabotaging your decision-making process in the year 2026. Since the widespread implementation of automated mail privacy protections by major tech companies several years ago, the open rate metric has become a digital hallucination. When a user receives an email on a modern smartphone, the operating system often prefetches and downloads the tracking pixel in the background, whether the human being actually looked at the screen or not. Your marketing software registers a successful open, but the user might have instantly swiped the notification away without ever reading a single word. The artificial intelligence at Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft knows this perfectly well. They do not care about artificial opens. They care about biological engagement, specifically a metric known as dwell time or read duration. Imagine if you walk into a traditional brick-and-mortar retail store in downtown Boston. You step through the front door, pause for exactly 1 second, and immediately pivot and walk back out onto the street. You technically entered the store, which is the equivalent of an email open, but your behavior signals to the store owner that you found absolutely zero value inside. Now imagine if you walk into that same store, browse the aisles for 3 minutes, pick up a product, read the label, and ask the cashier a specific question. That is high-level engagement. The machine learning algorithms operating your inbox track digital behavior in the exact same manner. They are silently calculating the precise number of milliseconds a user leaves your email fully rendered and active on their screen. If you consistently send emails that users open and then instantly delete or archive within 2 seconds, you are sending a massive negative biometric signal. The algorithm categorizes your content as irrelevant clutter, severely damaging your domain reputation over time. To combat this, Historical trends show that successful digital operations engineer their copywriting specifically to maximize this dwell time. You cannot simply blast a massive promotional graphic and a generic button. You must write compelling, structurally formatted long-form copy that forces the reader to physically scroll down the screen. The act of scrolling is a heavily tracked behavioral metric. It proves to the machine learning filter that a human being is actively consuming the information. Consider a case study involving a fitness coach named David, operating out of Miami, Florida, early in 2026. David previously sent short, punchy emails with a single link to his workout videos, resulting in terrible deliverability. When he pivoted his strategy, he began writing detailed, 1,000-word breakdowns of specific biomechanical movements, formatting the text with short paragraphs and clear spacing to make it highly readable on mobile devices. Because his audience was forced to spend 2 to 3 minutes reading the content, his dwell time metrics skyrocketed. The algorithms interpreted this extended biological attention as a massive indicator of value, and his domain reputation organically repaired itself, eventually pulling his emails out of the Promotions tab and into the primary inbox. However, maximizing dwell time is only the baseline requirement. If you want to force the algorithm to entirely trust your domain, you must engineer the ultimate positive engagement signal. In the complex hierarchy of algorithmic weighting, absolutely nothing is more powerful than a direct, textual reply from your subscriber. When a user hits the reply button and sends a custom message back to your domain, it mathematically shatters the illusion that you are an automated spam bot. Spammers do not engage in two-way conversational dialogue. They broadcast blindly to millions. When the artificial intelligence sees an organic reply, it essentially whitelists your sender address in that specific user's inbox, and it applies a massive boost to your global domain reputation across the entire network. This is exactly where ethical copywriting engineering becomes paramount. You must actively solicit replies, particularly in the very first email you send to a new subscriber. Let us look at another case study featuring Jessica, an independent software consultant based in Seattle, Washington. When a new prospect joined Jessica's mailing list, her automated welcome sequence did not simply deliver a generic document download. Instead, the very first email was a plain text message that warmly introduced her business and ended with a highly specific, low-friction question. She asked her new subscribers to reply to the email and tell her their number one biggest frustration with their current accounting software. This was not a rhetorical question. She genuinely wanted the market research, but more importantly, she was deliberately triggering the algorithmic architecture. By asking a simple, relevant question, she achieved a staggering 14% reply rate on her automated welcome email. The servers at Google and Microsoft witnessed thousands of organic, two-way conversations originating from Jessica's domain. They immediately categorized her as a highly trusted, high-value communicator. This single copywriting adjustment insulated her entire infrastructure from the spam folder for years. Beyond replies, you must also consider the physical movement of your emails within the inbox ecosystem. If your marketing messages are currently landing in the Promotions tab or the spam folder, a highly effective way to rehabilitate your reputation is to have users physically drag your email into their primary inbox. This manual action is the equivalent of a digital supervote. It tells the machine learning filter that its initial categorization was entirely incorrect, and that the user demands to see your content front and center. But users will not do this organically. You must incentivize the behavior. Historical trends in newsletter growth reveal that the most effective operators embed specific instructions at the top of their critical emails, actively asking the user to move the message to the primary folder or to add their sending address to the safe sender list. They explain clearly that doing so ensures the user will not miss future high-value educational content. Furthermore, the algorithm heavily penalizes the invisible metric of unread deletions. If a user receives your email, sees your sender name and subject line, and immediately swipes left to delete it without ever opening the message, it is actually worse than if they had never interacted with it at all. A high volume of unread deletions tells the artificial intelligence that your brand is actively annoying the user. If this pattern continues, the algorithm will preemptively route your future emails to the spam folder to save the user the hassle of deleting them manually. This means your subject line is not just a marketing hook, it is a critical deliverability asset. If your subject lines are constantly misleading, highly sensationalized, or utterly irrelevant to the actual content of the email, you will train your audience to ignore you. You must establish a consistent, recognizable sender name and craft subject lines that clearly articulate the exact value the user will receive by investing their time into opening the message. We have now established how to manipulate the algorithmic weighting through read time, two-way conversational replies, manual inbox routing, and the avoidance of unread deletions. You are engineering the exact biological signals that the machine learning filters crave. However, there is a massive vulnerability in this strategy. You can write the most engaging, reply-inducing, deeply educational copy in the world, but if you send it at the exact wrong time, it will be buried under an avalanche of corporate marketing noise, leading to those dreaded unread deletions we just discussed. Timing is not just a marketing optimization tactic. In 2026, it is a highly sensitive algorithmic trigger based on global server traffic and user behavioral patterns. Next, we are going to completely dismantle the conventional wisdom surrounding email scheduling, expose the massive server bottlenecks that occur at the top of every hour, and reveal the counterintuitive chronobiological sending strategies that help ensure your message arrives exactly when the algorithmic gatekeepers are most likely to grant you premium inbox placement. For the past 2 decades, the digital marketing industry has been completely obsessed with discovering the absolute perfect time to send an email campaign. If you search the internet for best sending practices right now, you will be immediately flooded with thousands of articles claiming that Tuesday morning at exactly 9 o'clock or Thursday afternoon at precisely noon are the optimal windows for maximum visibility. In the year 2026, blindly following this antiquated advice is not just ineffective, it is actively detrimental to your domain reputation. You must understand that these ubiquitous recommendations have created a massive, self-fulfilling infrastructural nightmare. Because every single beginner and amateur marketer on the internet reads the exact same articles, they all log into their automated marketing platforms and schedule their massive promotional broadcasts to deploy at the exact same time. They set their campaigns to launch at the top of the hour, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, or 3 o'clock on the dot. To visualize the devastating impact this has on deliverability, imagine if every single daily commuter residing in Los Angeles, California, decided to merge onto the Interstate 405 freeway at the exact same millisecond. The physical infrastructure of the highway would immediately collapse into catastrophic gridlock. Traffic would come to a complete and total standstill. This is precisely what occurs at the server level for the major inbox providers at the top of every single hour. The data centers operated by Google, Yahoo, and Microsoft are suddenly slammed with billions of incoming data packets simultaneously. When these massive, unprecedented spikes in commercial traffic hit their firewalls, the receiving algorithms are forced into a defensive posture. The infrastructure cannot instantly process and deeply analyze millions of promotional emails, while simultaneously maintaining the rapid flow of critical, one-to-one personal communications that their users rely on. As a direct result of this top-of-the-hour bottleneck, the inbox providers implement a severe defense mechanism known as rate limiting or server throttling. During these peak traffic windows, the machine learning filters become hyper-aggressive. They elevate their threat sensitivity to maximum levels. An email campaign that features perfectly clean copywriting, flawless authentication protocols, and a healthy text-to-image ratio might easily glide through the spam filters at 10:45 in the morning. However, if that exact same email arrives precisely at 9 o'clock during the server rush hour, the overwhelmed algorithm is statistically much more likely to ruthlessly categorize it as promotional clutter, quarantine it in a temporary holding queue, or route it straight to the spam folder simply to alleviate the sheer volume of traffic hitting the primary inbox. You are forcing your message to compete in the most hostile, highly scrutinized environment possible. To bypass this infrastructural chaos, historical trends indicate that sophisticated operators utilize a highly effective counterintuitive scheduling technique known as off-peak deployment. Instead of scheduling your broadcast for 8 o'clock in the morning, you deliberately program your software to dispatch the campaign at 8:17, 8:42, or 9:11. Consider a highly documented case study involving an independent financial advisor named Robert, operating a firm in Atlanta, Georgia. Early in 2026, Robert noticed a severe decline in the engagement rates of his weekly economic newsletter. He was doing everything correctly regarding content and list hygiene, but he consistently scheduled his broadcasts for exactly 8 in the morning on Tuesdays. By simply analyzing his server logs, he realized his emails were routinely being deferred by Microsoft Exchange servers due to volume restrictions. Robert shifted his automated sending schedule to 8:23 in the morning. The potential outcomes of this minor adjustment were staggering. Because his emails were arriving during a massive lull in server traffic, The algorithms processed his domain signature without triggering any defensive throttling. Furthermore, when his clients checked their phones, Robert was not competing with 50 other automated newsletters that had all arrived exactly at 8 o'clock. His message sat alone at the absolute top of the feed, resulting in a 30% increase in biological read duration. However, executing off-peak deployment is only the first layer of chronobiological strategy. You must also align your sending architecture with the actual biological behavioral patterns of your specific demographic, which requires strict time zone segmentation. If you operate a national e-commerce brand based in New York, and you send a massive promotional blast at 9 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, that email is violently waking up your customer base in California at 6 in the morning. By the time those West Coast users actually wake up, commute, and open their email client, your message has been buried under dozens of other incoming notifications. It is statistically highly likely to suffer an unread deletion, which, as we established, is a massive negative signal to the artificial intelligence. Modern marketing platforms in 2026 possess the capability to deploy campaigns based on the localized time zone of the recipient. This means your software calculates the historical IP address data of your subscriber and holds the email in a queue, delivering it at exactly 8:17 in the morning in New York, and then waiting 3 hours to deliver it at 8:17 in the morning in Los Angeles. This localized delivery strategy serves a dual purpose. First, it ensures you are intercepting the human being at the precise moment they are psychologically primed to consume information, such as during their morning transit window or their evening wind-down phase. Second, and perhaps more importantly for your algorithmic health, localized sending naturally flattens the curve of your outgoing server volume. Instead of blasting 100,000 emails in a single second, you are distributing that volume across 4 to 6 hours. This slow, steady drip of data completely eliminates the behavioral footprint of a spammer, keeping your domain reputation pristine in the eyes of the gatekeepers. You must deeply analyze the lifestyle of your target audience. If you are communicating with corporate executives, historical data shows that delivering your insights at 6:42 in the morning places your content in their hands, right as they are scanning their devices before their first meeting. If you are selling direct-to-consumer hobbyist products, targeting the couch-scrolling window at 8:34 in the evening often yields the highest potential outcomes for long-form reading. You must treat timing as a dynamic, biological variable, entirely discarding the rigid, automated habits of amateur marketers. You now understand how to manipulate time, how to bypass server bottlenecks, and how to deliver your message exactly when the algorithm is relaxed and the human is attentive. You have perfectly timed your approach. But what happens if the actual vehicle carrying your message is fundamentally toxic? What if the very code structuring your email is actively transmitting distress signals to the receiving firewall? You can send your campaign at the absolute perfect millisecond, but if your message contains bloated, invisible formatting tags, improperly configured tracking pixels, or specific link parameters that modern corporate security networks classify as spyware, you will instantly trigger a silent alarm that overrides every positive metric you have built. Next, we are going to dive straight into the surgical anatomy of an email payload, dissecting the invisible HTML architecture that lurks beneath your text, and reveal exactly why the standard open tracking tools you rely on every day might be the exact reason you are locked out of the primary inbox. Every time you hit send on your marketing platform, you are not actually sending text and images. You are transmitting a complex, highly structured package of hypertext markup language, cascading style sheets, and embedded server requests. To the human eye, your email looks like a beautiful, well-formatted letter. To the machine learning algorithms operating at Google, Yahoo, and corporate security firms in the year 2026, your email looks like a dense wall of raw computational code. This code is your digital payload. If your payload contains the structural hallmarks of surveillance software or obfuscated malware, the receiving firewalls will immediately neutralize your message, regardless of your pristine domain reputation or perfect sending schedule. The most common and consistently damaging structural flaw in modern email architecture revolves around the universal reliance on open tracking pixels. For over a decade, digital marketers have relied on these invisible, one-by-one pixel image files to measure campaign performance. When you enable open tracking in your software, the platform automatically injects a microscopic, transparent image into the hidden HTML footer of your email. When the user opens the message, their email client is forced to reach out to an external server to download that tiny image. That server request is what registers as an open in your analytics dashboard. However, the cybersecurity landscape has radically shifted. Major tech companies and privacy advocates now view this mechanism not as a harmless marketing tool, but as a severe privacy violation and a form of digital surveillance. Imagine if a retail store secretly slipped a microscopic GPS tracker into the pocket of every single customer who walked through their doors, solely to monitor how long they stayed in their living room when they went home. The public would be outraged. In the digital realm, algorithms are now acting as the security guards against this exact behavior. Modern corporate firewalls such as Proofpoint and Mimecast actively scan incoming payloads for these external image requests. If they detect tracking pixels heavily associated with bulk marketing platforms, they will aggressively penalize the sender score. They view the sender as an entity attempting to harvest user data without explicit, real-time consent. Consider a highly illustrative case study from the corporate consulting sector. Emily, a high-level executive coach operating out of Chicago, Illinois, in early 2026, built a highly targeted list of Fortune 500 vice presidents. She authored deeply educational, meticulously researched weekly essays. She experienced excellent deliverability for months until she decided to upgrade her analytics. She migrated to an enterprise marketing platform and enabled aggressive open tracking, click tracking, and extensive link parameters to measure her potential outcomes. Almost overnight, her emails vanished from her clients' inboxes. Because Emily was targeting corporate executives, her emails were passing through highly sensitive corporate security gateways before ever reaching the end user. These gateways analyzed her new HTML payload, detected the heavily modified tracking links and the embedded surveillance pixels, and classified her formerly pristine educational essays as severe security threats. The firewalls perceived her tracking mechanisms as an attempt to map the internal network activity of the corporation. To repair her infrastructure, Emily had to completely disable all open tracking and strip her URLs of complex parameters, sending bare, unmonitored links. Her deliverability instantly returned to normal, proving that in high-stakes environments, the demand for analytics can actively destroy your ability to communicate. Even if you disable tracking pixels, the underlying HTML structure of your message can still trigger an algorithmic lockdown through a phenomenon known as code bloat. A massive, recurring historical trend among beginners is the tendency to draft their email campaigns in external word processors like Microsoft Word or Google Docs, and then copy and paste that text directly into their email marketing software. This is a catastrophic architectural error. When you copy text from a rich text editor, you are not just copying the visible words. You are silently dragging thousands of lines of hidden, proprietary extensible markup language into your email payload. Imagine if you purchased a beautiful, delicate piece of jewelry, but the sender packaged it inside a massive, heavy shipping crate filled with 90 pounds of industrial packing peanuts. The recipient would be highly suspicious of the enormous container. When a spam filter scans an email that has been copied from a word processor, it calculates the ratio of raw HTML code to actual readable text. Because you pasted thousands of lines of hidden formatting tags to display just 2 or 3 paragraphs of text, your code-to-text ratio becomes severely imbalanced. The algorithm sees an email that is 95% code and 5% content. Historically, malicious actors and spammers heavily utilize dense, bloated HTML to hide malicious scripts or trick rudimentary scanners. By pasting bloated code, you are perfectly mirroring the architectural footprint of a cybercriminal. You must utilize pure text editors, strip all external formatting before pasting, and build your visual structure natively within the email software using clean, optimized design blocks. Furthermore, we must address the critical vulnerability of link wrapping and domain alignment. When you insert a hyperlink into your email, and you have click tracking enabled, your software does not send the user directly to your website. Instead, the software wraps your link in a redirect URL. The user clicks the link, they are briefly routed through a tracking server owned by your email provider, and then they are finally forwarded to your actual website. The problem arises when the domain in your sender address does not mathematically match the domain of the tracking server. If your email claims to be from your brand, but every single link inside the payload directs the user to a generic tracking domain shared by thousands of other marketers, the artificial intelligence detects a massive domain misalignment. This is the exact architectural strategy utilized in modern phishing attacks, where a hacker disguises an email to look like a legitimate bank, but embeds links pointing to a fraudulent server. To solve this, you must execute a specific, advanced DNS configuration known as setting up a custom tracking domain. You must log into your domain registrar and create a canonical name record, commonly referred to as a name. This record acts as a verified alias, instructing the internet to route the tracking data through a subdomain that you exclusively own, such as click.yourdomain.com. When the algorithm scans your payload after this configuration, it sees perfect harmony. The sender address, the cryptographic signature, and the underlying tracking links all share the exact same root domain name. This perfect alignment signals a highly sophisticated, secure, and trustworthy infrastructure. You have now mastered the anatomical payload of your email. You have stripped away the bloated code, you have disabled intrusive tracking pixels that trigger corporate firewalls, and you have mathematically aligned your link architecture to prove your authenticity to the machine learning filters. Your emails are now structurally perfect. But all of this flawless code and impeccable timing must eventually leave your system and travel across the internet through a physical gateway. This gateway is your sending internet protocol address. For years, beginners have debated whether they can safely operate on a shared server with thousands of other businesses, or if they must invest heavily in a dedicated, private IP address. The landscape regarding this decision has completely fractured in 2026. If you choose the wrong infrastructure based on your sending volume, you will absorb the toxic reputation of completely random strangers, or worse, you will freeze your own digital assets. Next, we are going to dissect the highly volatile world of IP reputation, explain exactly how the actions of a completely different company can banish your perfect emails to the spam folder, and reveal the exact mathematical volume thresholds that dictate when you must isolate your server infrastructure to survive. The physical gateway we are referring to is your Internet Protocol address, universally known as your IP address. To understand the gravity of this architectural decision, you must conceptualize your IP address as the physical license plate bolted to the bumper of your digital delivery vehicle. When your email arrives at the massive data centers operated by Google or Yahoo, their artificial intelligence does not just scan your domain name or your content payload. It actively logs the license plate of the server that transmitted the data. By default, when you initially register an account with almost any major email marketing platform in the world, you are automatically assigned to a shared IP pool. This means your business is utilizing the exact same digital license plate as thousands of other companies. Imagine if you reside in a massive residential high-rise building containing 5,000 identical apartments. To the external postal service, the entire building shares a single, overarching street address. Now, imagine if 3 or 4 of your neighbors in that building begin operating highly illegal, fraudulent mail order scams from their living rooms. The postal inspectors and federal authorities are not going to initially investigate the individual apartment numbers. They are going to flag the entire street address as a massive security risk. They will intercept every single package leaving that building. You could be running a perfectly legitimate, highly ethical business from your apartment, but your outgoing mail will be seized and destroyed simply because you share a physical address with malicious actors. This architectural vulnerability is universally known in the cybersecurity industry as the bad neighbor effect, and it is the absolute most common reason beginners experience sudden, catastrophic deliverability failures despite doing everything else flawlessly. Consider a heavily documented historical trend illustrated by a case study from early in the year 2026. Amanda operates an artisanal organic skincare brand based in Austin, Texas. Amanda was a model digital citizen. She maintained perfect list hygiene, entirely avoided semantic tripwires, and consistently achieved a 30% biological read duration on her weekly newsletters. However, in late April, her deliverability evaporated overnight. Her emails began landing exclusively in the spam folder across all major internet service providers. After weeks of costly technical audits, the root cause was discovered entirely outside of her own infrastructure. Amanda was operating on a shared IP address provided by her entry-level marketing software. Over the preceding weekend, a completely different customer sharing that exact same IP address had uploaded a stolen, heavily scraped list of 1 million contacts and initiated a massive phishing campaign. The global blacklist authorities, including Spamhaus, instantly blacklisted the shared IP address. Because Amanda was utilizing that exact same digital license plate, the artificial intelligence algorithms at Gmail and Microsoft assumed she was part of the same malicious botnet. She absorbed the total devastating consequence of a stranger's digital crimes. Her pristine domain reputation was temporarily completely overridden by the toxic IP reputation of her server environment. To permanently eradicate the bad neighbor effect, businesses must eventually graduate to a dedicated IP address. A dedicated IP is a unique string of numbers assigned exclusively to your specific business account. You become the sole occupant of a single-family home. Nobody else can utilize your license plate, meaning your digital reputation is entirely insulated from the reckless behavior of amateur marketers. When you utilize a dedicated IP, you possess absolute total control over your destiny. If your deliverability drops, you know with absolute certainty that it is a direct result of your own operational errors, allowing you to rapidly diagnose and surgically correct the issue without relying on your software provider to police their shared networks. However, beginners frequently attempt to purchase a dedicated IP address on day one, falsely believing it is a magical shield against the spam folder. This is a catastrophic architectural misunderstanding that will instantly paralyze your business. A dedicated IP address is not a shield. It is an amplifier. It amplifies your reputation, but if your IP has zero historical context, it amplifies nothing. Furthermore, to maintain the positive reputation of a dedicated IP, you must constantly feed it a massive, highly consistent volume of data. If you only send 2,000 emails a week, you simply do not generate enough mathematical data to sustain a dedicated IP reputation. The machine learning algorithms require a continuous, heavy flow of traffic to accurately map behavioral trends. If your volume is too low, or if you only send massive blasts once a month, your dedicated IP goes cold between sends. When an IP address goes cold, the algorithms reset its reputation back to zero, assuming the server has been abandoned and potentially compromised. The mathematical volume thresholds dictating this transition are strict and highly unforgiving. Industry historical trends in 2026 clearly indicate that you absolutely should not transition to a dedicated IP address unless you are consistently dispatching a minimum of 100,000 emails per month, distributed relatively evenly across the calendar. This breaks down to a required daily minimum volume of roughly 3,000 to 5,000 emails. If your audience size and sending frequency cannot comfortably mathematically sustain this daily threshold, you are actually much safer remaining on a high-quality shared IP pool. On a shared pool, the email service provider strategically groups thousands of small senders together to artificially generate the massive, consistent volume required to keep the IP address warm and trusted by the algorithms. The shared volume protects you when your individual volume is too weak to stand alone. Therefore, the architectural blueprint for scaling your infrastructure follows a very specific sequence. You begin on a shared IP, utilizing the collective volume of the pool to establish your initial domain reputation. You obsessively monitor your metrics, slowly scale your audience, and rigorously enforce your list hygiene. Once your database organically grows to the point where you are routinely dispatching 5,000 emails a day without triggering any algorithmic throttling, you reach the critical tipping point. You then purchase a dedicated IP address and begin a meticulous 30-day IP warming protocol, slowly shifting your massive volume from the shared pool onto your private license plate. You have now mastered the complete technical infrastructure of email deliverability. You have implemented flawless domain authentication. You have sanitized your HTML payload. You have optimized your chronobiological sending schedule, and you have strategically isolated your server environment to protect your assets. Your digital fortress is structurally impenetrable from the outside. The algorithms respect your domain, and the internet service providers recognize your dedicated server. You are finally experiencing the maximum potential outcomes of a perfectly optimized marketing machine. But there is one final devastating vulnerability that can bypass all of your brilliant technical configurations. It is an internal threat that originates directly from the human beings on your list. No matter how perfect your code is, if a user bypasses your unsubscribe link and instead clicks the native spam button provided by their email client, they trigger a direct, overriding feedback loop that immediately signals the algorithm to dismantle your reputation. Next, we are going to explore the terrifying mathematics of the spam complaint threshold, reveal how major providers calculate this silent metric, and provide the exact psychological retention strategies you must implement to ensure your subscribers never weaponize their inbox against your business. The mathematical reality of the spam complaint threshold is the most ruthless executioner in the entire email ecosystem. You can spend thousands of dollars engineering the perfect server architecture, you can spend months writing deeply educational copy, and you can flawlessly align your time zone distribution, but the absolute ultimate arbiter of your domain reputation is the human thumb. In the year 2026, the major inbox providers, specifically Google and Yahoo, enforce a terrifyingly strict spam complaint threshold of 0.3%. To put this into a concrete mathematical perspective, if you successfully deliver 1,000 emails to the primary inbox, and just 3 individual human beings click the mark as spam button, your entire sending infrastructure triggers a catastrophic systemic alarm. You have officially crossed the boundary from a legitimate marketer into a categorized public nuisance. To fully grasp the danger of this 0.3% threshold, you must understand exactly how the artificial intelligence calculates the mathematics. The algorithm does not calculate your spam complaint rate based on your total sent volume. It calculates the rate based exclusively on the emails that successfully landed in the primary inbox. Imagine if you blast a campaign to 10,000 subscribers. Due to some minor infrastructural issues, 5,000 of those emails are silently routed to the promotional tab or the junk folder, where users rarely look. The remaining 5,000 emails successfully reach the primary inbox. If just 15 people out of those 5,000 visible emails tap the spam button, you have hit the 0.3% kill switch. Your domain reputation is instantly decimated. Why do users weaponize their inbox against you? Why do they click the spam button instead of simply unsubscribing from your list? It fundamentally comes down to human psychology, cognitive load, and the user interface design of modern mobile operating systems. Imagine if you are navigating a crowded, highly stressful airport terminal. You are carrying heavy luggage, you are late for your flight, and a salesperson aggressively steps in front of you to pitch a credit card. You are not going to politely listen to their presentation, ask for their business card, and slowly walk away. You are going to aggressively shove past them to remove the immediate friction from your life. The mobile inbox is that exact same stressful terminal. When a user opens their email application on a smartphone, their primary psychological goal is to aggressively clear notifications and reduce their digital clutter. If they see your email and decide they no longer wish to receive your content, they seek the path of absolute least resistance to eliminate you from their feed. Historically, amateur marketers believed they were being clever by actively hiding their unsubscribe links. They would format the text to be incredibly small, change the font color to a light gray that perfectly blended into the white background of the email, or force the user to log into a complex external portal just to remove their address. This is a catastrophic psychological miscalculation. When you increase the cognitive friction required to legitimately unsubscribe, the user instantly defaults to the massive, highly visible, natively built-in report spam button located at the absolute top of their screen. You create a digital hostage situation, and the hostage retaliates by destroying your domain reputation. Consider a highly documented case study involving a software founder named Brian, operating an educational technology platform in Austin, Texas, early in 2026. Brian had organically built a database of 40,000 high school administrators. He wrote incredibly detailed, valuable content, but he was terrified of losing his audience. To artificially inflate his retention metrics, Brian buried his unsubscribe link at the absolute bottom of a massive legal footer, rendering it practically invisible on mobile devices. In mid-February, Brian sent a massive product update. His content was completely clean, but hundreds of administrators had recently retired or changed school districts and simply wanted off the list. Unable to find the hidden link, they took the path of least resistance. Over 100 users clicked the native spam button in a single hour. Brian hit a spam complaint rate of 0.4%. The algorithmic gatekeepers at Microsoft and Google instantly paralyzed his entire business operation. His critical billing receipts, password reset emails, and customer support replies were permanently blocked from reaching his active paying clients. By trying to trap his audience, Brian triggered a potential outcome that cost his company tens of thousands of dollars in churned accounts. The exact psychological retention strategy you must implement to survive this algorithmic threshold is radical, frictionless transparency. You must completely embrace the concept of the graceful exit. Instead of hiding your unsubscribe link, you must proudly display it. Historical trends among the highest performing 8-figure digital businesses reveal a counterintuitive strategy where operators place a clear, bold unsubscribe link at the absolute top of the email, right below the header image. By offering the exit door immediately, you completely disarm the psychological tension. You prove to the subscriber that you respect their time and their autonomy. When a user feels respected, they will almost always choose the polite, legitimate unsubscribe route over the destructive spam button. Furthermore, you must flawlessly execute the technical mandate known as RFC 8058. This is a highly specific infrastructural protocol universally referred to as the one-click unsubscribe requirement. This is not simply a hyperlink at the bottom of your text. It is a complex set of hidden HTTP post requests embedded deep within your email header code. When you configure this correctly within your sending software, it communicates directly with the operating system of the receiving device. It allows Gmail, Apple Mail, and Yahoo to automatically generate a native, highly visible unsubscribe button directly next to your sender name at the top of the screen. If a user clicks this native button, your software instantly and silently removes them from the database without opening a new web browser, without asking them to confirm their email address, and without asking them to fill out a lengthy survey. Providing this instant one-click release valve is now a mandatory requirement for bulk senders in 2026. If the algorithm scans your incoming payload and detects that you have stripped out the RFC 8058 header data, it will actively penalize your domain for attempting to trap consumers. Beyond the immediate exit, you must also construct a psychological safety net known as a preference center. Many users do not actually want to permanently sever ties with your brand, they are simply experiencing temporary inbox fatigue. If your only option is a total permanent unsubscribe, you force them into an extreme decision. A sophisticated preference center allows the user to click a link and easily choose to downsnooze your content. They can click a button to pause all communications for 30 days while they are on vacation, or they can select an option to only receive your weekly educational digest instead of your daily promotional broadcasts. By offering granular control over the cadence of communication, you drastically reduce your overall unsubscribe rates while simultaneously driving your spam complaints down to absolute zero. You are engineering a database filled exclusively with hyper-engaged, enthusiastic human beings who actively demand your presence in their digital lives. You have now completed the deepest, most technically advanced journey into the modern infrastructure of email deliverability. You possess the exact architectural blueprints to lock down your authentication, the semantic frameworks to bypass machine learning content filters, and the chronobiological strategies to conquer the server bottlenecks. Your digital fortress is fully constructed, your reputation is impenetrable, and your messages are finally arriving directly into the primary inbox of your most lucrative prospects. But simply arriving at the destination does not generate revenue. You have secured their attention, but how do you mathematically convert that attention into a massive influx of capital without instantly triggering the algorithmic tripwires we just spent hours dismantling? Next, we are going completely off the technical grid and diving straight into the high-stakes psychology of the six-figure automated launch sequence, revealing exactly how to structure an irresistible, high-ticket offer that forces your audience to pull out their credit cards the exact moment they open your message.